Rene from the DTM media team. We had some virtual contact already.
Yes,
so,
yeah,
yeah.
sure.
Would you like to prefer to be called Alexander or Alex?
Alex is fine.
Alex is fine.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
No worries.
Somebody said, no, he doesn't want Alex. Well, first time I hear that, but
No, it's
okay.
fine.
Right. Einmal kurz checken, jawohl. Hörst du mich? Ja. How was free practice for you guys? Not auf Sophia.
No, why? I saved tires.
Really?
Did you do any laps? Out in. We tried to do a bit stuff, but even this didn't work. So we pushed it back to the
We were
car.
waiting for you for ages. No, they wanted to do a practice start, like a drop. And we were like right behind your car.
Yeah, and
And we had to touch down. And I was like, guys, can we just go? Like, just face me. And I was like, I'm dying here. And I was like, okay, I'm going to cut the engine off. So I cut the engine off. They're like, no, don't cut. Start. And so I was like, putting my hand like down. I was like, oh, God. I was like, let me just go. I can clear him. And they're like, no, we don't know. And I was like, guys, please, let me go and I'll be fine.
But for me, it's the killer to press the clutch and stay a long time. Yeah, because I get the grip straight away.
Yeah.
I mean, anyway, I'm quite happy we do a rolling start because it wouldn't work with me.
Yeah. Honestly, it was terrible. Anyway, it was okay.
Ein Fahrraddeck?
Good tire deck.
I loved it. Really, in the end, I'm just like, I really struggle with GT cars to control the degradation. Because with ABS,
Okay, perfect. We are on time, 2:30. I really would like to welcome you to the first DTM race weekend here at the traditional track in Monza. Before you're wondering about my person, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Aline Broll. I'm the new PR manager at ITR, so responsible for all the PR topics for the DTM. Before, I was working 15 years for a German TV station, among others also for the Formula One. And I felt very comfy in this area, so now I'm here and I'm very happy. I would try to answer all your questions for DTM topics within the season, and I really hope that I will meet you all in person during the season. And so I'm looking forward to it and to a good season for all of us. And with that, I would like to open the first press conference here in Monza. Together with my colleague René de Boer, I would like to host this press conference. And I would like to pass over the first question First, I would like to welcome our guests. So it's Sophia and Esme in the press conference, the female power in the DTM this year. Alex Albon, well known from Formula One, and Lucas Auer as well. So the 5 times DTM race winner. And I would like to pass over the first question to Sophia. Sophia, it was in March with the announcement that you will race for DTM. Then you had a lot of tests, and the first free practice just an hour ago. So how is the feeling in the car, and how you feel personally?
Well, first of all, I'm really happy to be racing in DTM this year together, or for Abt. It's a big opportunity for me, which Scheffler made possible. But of course, GT or touring cars in general are something new kind of for me. I'm used to single-seaters and some cars with a little bit more aero. So that was a switch, definitely, also with ABS, which is something completely new. But getting there, did some test days like the official ones, and getting better lap by lap. Yeah, just FP1, I think you always have your testing program, which you're trying to do in free practice sessions, and that's what we did as well. Tomorrow is when it starts counting, so we'll try our best.
Thank you very much, Sophia. Thank you very much, Aline. Continue with Esme, a newcomer here on the stage. We haven't seen you yet in the build-up to the season opening round this weekend here at Monza, so particularly warm welcome to you in DTM. 2 years ago, you regularly raced on the DTM platform in the W Series. Now you're in the main event, which is DTM, racing a Lamborghini for the T3 Motorsport team. Please tell us how it came to be.
Yeah, so beginning of this season, we were looking for something to do. It's always looking to move up in the racing world, and yeah, I've come from Carrera Cup, so it's a big jump into DTM. My first plans kind of came together and then disappeared quite late on in the season. So a lot of seasons had already started, and DTM was kind of the only season that hadn't started yet. So we were looking at getting into that. Obviously saw Sophia in DTM, and I think it's great that DTM are kind of promoting female empowerment and females in the DTM series. And yeah, I thought, why not add another one to the grid? So that's how it all came about, really. And yeah, I mean, without my sponsor Rocket, I wouldn't be sat here. So big thanks to them for coming on board so late on in the season. And yeah, it's great to be here.
Many thanks. Lucas, you haven't been racing this year, so your full focus is on being in the DTM. How eager are you for this season?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward. As you said, it was a long break. We had a lot of tests, and I'm really looking forward now to finally start racing tomorrow.
Alex, same question to you. How high is your anticipation level for the season opener of DTM here at Monza?
Yeah, it should be a good weekend. I think Monza is always a pretty special track that you go to. It's very quick. In these GT cars, yeah, you actually end up going pretty quick down the straights too. It offers quite good overtaking. So I'm sure it's going to be interesting.
Sophia, you already have a couple of days experience with your Abt Audi, not only from testing in Hockenheim and Lausitz. So what kind of friendly advice can you give Esme? And what's the thing you had to adapt to most in terms of handling in a GT car?
Well, I had one more test day, which was Monza 2 weeks ago. But apart from this, I mean, Esme is more used to GTs, I think, than me. So maybe she can give me some tips, actually. But in the end, I think she also has a strong teammate from who she can learn. And I think that's most important, you know, to get better race weekend by race weekend. And most important, of course, enjoy it. You know, my issue was and still is that I'm doing a double program, and jumping from a car with a lot of aero to a car with not a lot of aero is quite tough, especially on entry speed. So that's kind of where I have to focus. But I think that's not really Esme's point. So yeah.
So Esme, let's hear from you as well. Coming back to you, unlike all the others in this group, you didn't participate in the DTM pre-season tests at Hockenheim and Lausitz. So for you, it's really a matter of being thrown in at the deep end. What kind of preparation did you have, and how big was the step into a GT3 car?
Yeah, for sure. I came on very late on, so I missed all the pre-season testing. We were able to fit a little bit of testing in, but for me, it's been a huge step up. You know, like I've come from a car which has no ABS, so to learn that's been a huge step up, and also being in a GT3 car against some of the top guys in the world in motorsport. So yeah, I mean, I've definitely thrown myself in the deep end, but I've got a great teammate, great team support around me, so we'll just take that on board and take everything as it comes, and the aim is just to learn throughout the whole season.
Mm-hmm. Lucas, you have comparatively little experience in a GT car as well. Is there anything you find difficult compared to other machinery you've been racing before?
Yeah, there are a couple of challenges, but especially the braking with the ABS. It sounds easy, it should help you, which it does, but there are some tricks which you have to get used to, which wasn't the case, of course, last year. So I think the braking zone there, you can get the most lap time out of it, and this is the biggest focus for me up to now. But I feel now good prepared. Also, I have a strong teammate who is a real expert in GT3. So I get good data.
Alex, you are racing a Ferrari here in Monza. It's the home race for the team, based just 1 hour down the road. An iconic brand, an iconic venue. What kind of feeling is that for you to race here?
Yeah, obviously there's no Tifosi here to support us, but otherwise, no, it's great to be here. The team, they have a lot of passion. They know this circuit well as well, which is always important coming to a new track for me at least in a GT3 car. So it's interesting, and you know, they actually have. I mean, all these guys were talking about having a driver coach, but we also have teammates. We have Alessandro, who's here with us this weekend, who helps a lot with this kind of thing as well. So he's bringing his experience to the circuit, which is very much needed.
As me, of course, you're also representing a famous Italian sports car brand, Lamborghini, from Sanagata Bolognese. So plenty of prestige for you as well. What kind of expectations do you have going into your first DTM race weekend?
I try to keep my expectations as low as possible, I guess. I'm here to just do my best on track, and I mean, you don't need the stress of expectations, I guess, and we're here just to improve every time. We're with a great manufacturer, and it's amazing to be driving the Lamborghini, obviously in Italy as well, which is very cool to be here. The track I've raced before, so it's nice to actually know the circuit, and with this car, learning every time. I think that's going to be the goal for this season, and especially the first race weekend, just to keep improving and learning more and more as we go on, and learning from all the guys in the team.
Sophia, I know from your days in Formula 3, it's something we've discussed before. You don't like to be called a lady racer. You are a racer who happens to be a lady, which of course is a difference. But there's no way around it. People will be comparing Esme and you. Who of you will become the second lady after Ellen Law to win a DTM race?
Me?
Yeah, okay. Esme?
No. I mean, you know, we have a really long season ahead, and I think both of us will try our best. But in the end, we're racers, and the car, everyone is the same. Not important if you're female or male. We all, I think, in the whole grid have the same goals. So yeah, we'll see who at some point maybe does it. But of course, for both of us, it's actually a rookie season. So yeah, we'll see.
Esme, you about this question?
Yeah, sure. I mean, everyone on the grid is going for the same thing, to be at the top of that top step, you know. So for us, for sure, we're going to be trying our hardest to kind of get there and keep improving throughout the whole year. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure myself and Sophia will have some good battles on track, and yeah, we'll see who the first one is.
Perfect, thank you. Lucas, you are a 5-time DTM race winner, I said before. What kind of expectations do you have going into the season?
To be honest, the expectation is always to fight for wins. We have new regulations, new cars, which we will see how it will play out tomorrow and on Sunday. But of course, you always want to go for the win. You come here to win, and you will work as long as possible. As you have to work as long as possible for the win.
Alex, you are combining your DTM campaign with your role in the Formula 1 for Red Bull Racing. Formula 1 is racing this weekend as well at Paul Ricard, and you are here. Thank you for this. Are you able to fully focus on a DTM commitment here in Monza this weekend?
Yeah, of course. It's kind of whatever we do, whatever I do, it's 100% on what I'm doing. Of course, a lot of my work for this weekend in F1 has already started earlier this week, so now that's kind of pushed aside, and now the full focus is getting a good result here. So yeah, of course, still tracking, seeing what's going on over in France, but otherwise, yeah, maximizing this weekend.
And finally, a question I've asked to all the 4 drivers we had in the virtual pre-event press conference on Wednesday this week, and I would like to hear from all of you as well. Who is your favorite for the title this year, and who are you expecting to be the surprise of the season, and why? We start with Sophia.
I think that's a really difficult question as we have BOP this year. So I think a lot will still change in the next days and next weeks. Yeah, maybe ask the same questions again after the third round or so when everything is kind of balanced. But right now, I think it's tough.
And the surprise of the season?
Hopefully me.
Yeah, why not? Alex?
Like Sophia said, I think it's very dependent on each weekend. I think Audi in general are going to be very strong. That's my opinion. And who? Surprise. We have to all go ourselves. I think. I think we all want to do well. So me as well.
Fair enough, Esme.
So for me, I think I've kind of just rocked up to the DTM championship. So I think I'll have to learn a bit more about everyone until I can give you a solid answer on that one. But yeah, like Sophia and Alex said, I think, yeah, we'll have to go with myself for the surprise. Maybe that would be a pretty good one if I can get up there. So yeah.
And Lucas, what about you?
Yeah, with the championship, it's always difficult in DTM because this makes it so special. You have the most of the field will go for the title, but only one will have the consistency. So this we will see throughout the season. And I think the biggest surprise should be Esteban Move.
Okay, let's wait and see and be surprised. I'll open up the floor to questions from the colleagues, either here in the media room. We have Ursula here with the roving microphone, and she will bring the microphone to you if you want to ask a question. In case you want to, please raise your hand physically, then Ursula will come and bring the microphone to you. And otherwise, also for the people joining us from the digital world, we have the opportunity to raise your question virtually. You raise your hand, and I have the first question from... Yeah, okay, there you go. Go ahead, please.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. Good luck this weekend. For the TV viewers this weekend, without giving too much away, could you each just give us a little bit of insight into what is the key to a really quick lap here at Monza?
I'll go. I don't know. I think all of us, has anyone driven the GT car here yet in Monza? Have you, Lucas?
A test.
A test, okay. So maybe Lucas knows more, but I think it's really important to be good on the brakes. There's huge braking points here. It's really hard actually to be precise. Honestly speaking, the braking points are so far away that the precision is a bit more difficult than a single-seater. And it's also about using the right bit of curb. So curb usage is really important here. Not upsetting the car, but using it to maximize your angle and your speed and the width of the circuit. So it's a compromise. And if you can get slipstream on your lap, that also always helps.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to follow up on that? Chris?
Too many
Okay.
secrets.
Yeah.
Well, just one quick one, if I can, to Lucas. Lukey, is it going to be a challenge to race against so many new people that you haven't raced against before? Obviously, there are some guys that you know, but a lot of people, when you're racing wheel to wheel, you've never raced them before, perhaps.
Yes, it should be a good challenge because normally in DTM we were for a long time the same group of people, and you start to know how they race, different people. So now when new ones come in, for sure there will be a new style, but it shouldn't be a problem. At the end, it will always be hard and always on the limit. So I think it will be okay.
All right, thanks very much.
I've got a virtual question coming in from Søren Proper. You can unmute yourself and ask your question, please. Go ahead. Søren, are you there? No. Seems there's some kind of hiccup in the connection. Then
Alex, this is a general one. Did Red Bull set any specific goals for you this season, especially as returning to Formula One is still your ultimate goal? And a bit related to that, how confident are you that doing well in the DTM will increase your chances on a Formula One return? also given the talented junior drivers that Red Bull has in Formula 2, for example?
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah. So the on my side, you know, I want to win. I think every driver does. That's the main aim. Whatever you do, of course, my goal is, as you said, getting back into F1. And as you said, it is in some respects important the result. It is very different to single seaters. It is a completely different style of racing, but and at the end of the day, you know, you still want to do well, and results are results. So on my side, it's just about doing a good job, and of course, it is such a big difference to what I've been doing last year. But it is a challenge because you're going against drivers who have years and years, who are doing thousands of laps a year driving these GT cars. That means when you're going up against these guys, it's kind of like you're going into their world, and it isn't as simple as you know, okay, let's just go in and be quick. It does take time, and I think like these guys, I've done 6 days in a GT car, so there's still a lot of kind of knowledge and pace to be had. So yeah, I want a good result. Obviously, it would be good to show the guys what I can do in the DTM car as well. But honestly speaking, as well, at that side, I don't think it would be, you know, a big thing or a bad thing if things go well or not. But of course, I'm pushing for a win.
The next one goes to Sven Heidinger.
Yeah, the question for Alex. You said before that Alessandro, I guess it is Alessandro, is helping you as a coach a little bit. Can you tell us a bit what he is doing exactly for you, how often you're in touch, and what was his best advice that he was able to give you? And maybe you can also tell us a bit about how difficult it was today to keep the tires alive in the practice session.
Yeah, sure. So Alessandro, obviously, he's part of the WEC program. He's been part of the Ferrari program for a long time. I think he knows these cars better than anyone else. And most of it is, you know, even he drove my car in a test here a week ago or something like that. And he found out things which I didn't even know in the car, kind of thing. You know, oh, by the way, you done this and this. I was, oh, okay. So it's good because actually Liam and I, we haven't been comparing ourselves to anyone else. It's just been us two driving around. So to have a third person there, the technique and everything like that, honestly, that there isn't too much on that side. A lot of it is understanding the system. As Lucas said, ABS and traction control, you would think is a way to make the driving easier, but actually speaking, when you've grown up without using TC and ABS, it's actually harder to drive because you're basically letting electronics, which is something, it's like a whole new area for you to understand, and to learn the tricks, how to use them efficiently, is a real technique. And yeah, that's where obviously Alessandro, he can help myself and Liam and teach us a little bit how that all works.
Next one I have is from Josh Suttle. Josh, go ahead, unmute yourself and ask your question, please.
Thank you very much. It's another question for Alex. Sergio Perez recently credited his success to the work that you've done behind the scenes at Red Bull and the things you told him over the winter. He's clearly learned a lot from you, but what have you learned from him working alongside him in the team this year? And are there things that he's doing that you wish you'd done, or things that he's doing which you might be able to sort of use in the future, just as he's using things that you learned?
Yeah, no. Yeah, obviously, firstly, it was very nice of Sergio to say that. There's a lot of work that gets done behind the scenes, not just from me, to be honest. There's a huge amount of people back at Milton Keynes who work really hard with simulator work, with everything that we do there. And yeah, it is a team effort. And with that, yeah, there is definitely things which I see Sergio has. Firstly, it's experience, huge amounts of experience. And of course, there are some things which I reflect on from last year, which I know I could have
changed and most probably helped out. But at the end of the day as well, I think you know, it's kind of like it's one of them tricky ones where it's like, yeah, okay, but we still need a chance to kind of prove myself and get back in one. So yeah, it's still the goal, but yeah.
Okay, anybody else? Either here in the room or virtually? I have another one for Sven Heidinger. Sven, go ahead, please.
Yeah, question for Luki. You didn't do a lap in the first practice session. Could this prove important on future weekends, also because the tires are limited?
Well, we will see. To be honest, we were here 2 weeks ago or 1.5 weeks ago and did a test. So we are quite sure about our setup and everything, and that's why we decided to wait until the track grips up, which it does in FP2, and then we will have a very tough program. So we see how this goes. Probably tomorrow in qualifying we get the answer.
Got another one from Josh as well. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, just a quick one first, mate. What difference did racing W Series make to get any DTM drive? Obviously, being on the support build, did that kind of influence the deal this year, or not so much?
I mean, being part of the W Series and being involved with the whole DTM Championship and running alongside them obviously did kind of spark an interest for me to get into DTM. I've always, from Carrera Cup and driving in GT cars, wanted to get into a GT3 car, and where DTM has changed to having GT3 cars this year, it felt like the perfect opportunity for me to get into it and to kind of strengthen my career going forward.
It seems like Søren has rejoined us and is making another attempt to ask a question. Søren, go ahead, please.
Okay, do you hear me now?
Yes, we hear you perfectly.
Finally, thank you very much. A question for Sophia. If I understood correctly, the new rules in DTM, you are now allowed to have a different qualifying setup compared to the racing setup. Is that something that comes handy to you since you're using the same things in WEC, or is that something totally different because of GT cars?
Well, obviously using different setups in quali and race helps everyone because you just have a different balance over a long run compared to a short run. I mean, I'm used to having different setups in quali and races since forever. I mean, I never drove another series where you had actually the rule that you need to stick to the same setup. So yeah, I'm quite happy that we have no rule regarding that one now, because otherwise I would have needed to change something more again.
Any further questions? Sven, another one for you.
Let's try again with Alex. Can you tell us a little bit how difficult it was to keep the tires alive in the first 3 practice sessions, as it's very hot and this might be an issue?
Yeah, really tricky. It feels quite strange how aggressive the drop-off is. It's something which, obviously with Pirelli tires we kind of get, but I find it, mostly due to experience, I find it a little bit more difficult to manage the tires in a GT3 car just because they're heavy, and obviously with TC and ABS, a lot of the stuff you do on a single-seater is with your right foot and your left leg, and in a GT car there's less of that influence, and you're kind of tracking it a little bit with the buttons on your steering wheel, but at the same time I think it will come. But yes, the DEG was bad. I think it will be nice when we box and put some new tires on. I think it will be very much needed when we're doing our races, and I think it will make the strategy pretty interesting. So I'm excited for that.
I don't see any further raised hands, neither here in the room nor virtually. Oh, another one for Sven. You can't leave it out, can you? Go ahead.
Yes, this will be my final question for all of you. We have seen in the first 3 practice sessions 5 cars in 1/10 of a second. Do you think that this is a good indicator already that the DOP works? So what's your take on that topic?
Well, I'll start. I think Monza is always a track where the grid is normally really close together, just as the track is not that difficult. It doesn't have so many corners, so especially if you have a good slipstream, normally the grid is always close together, so that's typical for Monza. But in the end, I think, as I said before, it's still free practice sessions. You never know what everyone is doing. I think the first time everyone is going to put everything on table is going to be tomorrow morning in qualifying. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think to get the perfect BOP, it will still take some race weekends, and it's also, for sure, really difficult for AVL to do that after some official testings where, no one is really showing what they have in the pocket.
Yes, so I agree with Sophia. I think BOP is going to be the talking point. I think even in FP1 there, what you saw isn't representative. I think there are some guys who can go much quicker than that. I think just looking at other championships as well, it's going to be tricky. I think when it comes to qualifying, you're going to see a bit more the true reflection of everyone's pace. I'm a bit worried, but at the same time, excited to see what happens.
Esme?
Yeah, for me also, I think tomorrow is going to be where we see where everyone kind of is with BOP and see the true potential of everyone on the grid. I think for now, some people might be playing more games than others. So yeah, let's see tomorrow. And I think in qualifying will be when we see who's going to be at the top and where it's going to be then. But I still think even though it's tenths apart, I don't think you'll see much difference tomorrow. I think everyone is going to be pretty close tomorrow.
FP1 look good, but who knows? Maybe Alex was on high fuel and can still improve a second. So we have to see and wait.
So if there's nobody else wanting to ask a question, then we'll wrap it up from here. That'll be it from our side. We'll send you an end-of-day press release to all the colleagues in the media world, including the link to download the recording of today's press conference. You will also receive the link to download the images and also the timing results. So thank you very much for your interest. And to wrap it all up, I'll hand over the microphone one more time to Aline Koll.
Yeah, thank you for the first press conference here in Monza, and having all a good and successful weekend. And as my colleague said, so we will see us tomorrow again. Thank you.